Somebody sent me a message saying, hello, you a communist. I guess I am a communist because I live inside of a community. So I guess I am one. But my granddad didn't like communists, but he lived inside a village.
Nobody needs to know. The Reynolds pay. Nobody needs to know.
Hey, would you guys like to know how society pissed me off this morning? Of course you do. Alright, so I was listening to this podcast, right? And it brought up the opioid epidemic. Like, the podcast wasn't about the opioid epidemic, but it was mentioned. And then me being a thinker, I got to thinking. Remember when the opioid epidemic was like a thing like a few years ago and it was deemed a national health crisis? Okay, well, travel back in time with me to the 80s when there was a crack cocaine epidemic. It was not deemed a health crisis. You know what it was deemed? A heavy offense against law and order. And the crack cocaine epidemic was affecting people of color. One of these scenarios produced mass incarceration, and the other one started a conversation on drug rehabilitation. Yeah, no, let's talk about that one. But seriously, no, like, let's talk. Like, I think I'm gonna start doing like lives weekly or somewhere we talk about just different things, because y'all been going crazy in these comments and I love it. But I want to talk face to face and I want y'all to be able to say things right back to me. So I don't know, maybe next week or something like that. And you know what we're starting off with? The damage done by the patriarchy, because what the hell is that? But for now, let's talk about this topic, because what the...
Daddy teaches you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Don't Daddy teach you that?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
And how we treat people is based on who they are and not what color they are.
And if they're nice and smart.
See, this is how children think right here. Critical race theory wants to end that.
This is when I knew we had completely jumped the shark. I'm not here to dunk on that man. I understand that his hustle is to be a black conservative that appeals to racists. We all need a hustle. It's not a new hustle and business is booming. The only problem is that that's not critical race theory. Critical race theory is not, and I can't believe this needs to be said, the indoctrination of racism to our children. It doesn't teach kids that white people are inherently racist or that people of a certain race have been held back by their race. In fact, it probably doesn't teach kids anything at all because it's highly unlikely that actual real-life critical race theory is being taught in grade schools. Critical race theory is an academic framework, usually found in law schools, that uses critical theory to examine the ways racism has been institutionalized through the legal system. For example, say a politician was looking to curry favor among white voters that they knew were susceptible to racial resentment and animosity, if not just racist. So they changed the law so that history curriculum taught in schools omitted anything that voters might find objectionable. This idea isn't controversial. Virtually all the framers were slavers or traded in slavery. The slavery was written into the Constitution. I mean, we just made Juneteenth a national holiday, and it's hard to tell under this law whether teachers will even be able to teach why. Racist law isn't ancient history either. We just celebrated the anniversary of Loving v. Virginia, which legalized interracial marriage in 1967, 2 years before my mother was born. Is it really that hard to believe that people who believed white people to be superior to non-white people would write that belief into law? Our kids need to know American history. Public schools can be a safe space for racism. And even if it was, your kids have TikTok, and TikTok has my friends and I. So I'm sorry, Karen and Tucker, we're neighbors now. Burning the books is no longer an option.
If you don't support trans rights, I'm gonna send you on an unplanned flight when I put my foot on your ass.
Let's talk about how before and after pictures can be harmful. Before and after pictures typically show someone before they lost weight, usually fat, and after they've lost weight, usually thin. In a society that idealizes thinness and typically equates being thin to being healthy and being fat to being unhealthy, this can have negative body image effects for people who look more like the before picture. You also don't really know how people achieved weight loss, but often it's through severe dieting and deprivation and the result of disordered eating. A lot of people who have suffered from eating disorders and body image issues might also find these images really triggering to various disorders such as body dysmorphia, depression, anxiety, etc. It kind of just also reinforces fat phobia and the idea that weighing more is automatically bad and weighing less is automatically good. I know. A lot of you are probably thinking, well, I'm proud of my weight loss, so why should I care how other people feel about it? To that I answer, because you're a human being and empathy exists.
Okay. Yeah. Damn.
I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm chairman of the Minnesota delegation. Maryland is home of the Underground Railroad and two of our greatest abolitionists.
New Hampshire is known for our maple syrup. Comedian Adam Sandler.
As a proud and independent nutmegger, I proudly cast 28 spicy votes.
Ohio's 82 votes for Donald John President. or Donald John Trump?
Crooked Hillary.
A flattened China plague curve.
Trump-tana. In short, sir, you're crushing it.
We have at least 5 guns in every home.
Joe Biden is hiding in the dark, waiting to take the lives of our unborn babies.
Lifestyle change. It's not a diet. Okay, so if you gained weight on this supposed lifestyle change, would you still do it? It was never about the lifestyle change. It was about controlling your body.
You're an idiot. You're fucking dumb, buddy.
Paycheck to paycheck until I die in the great Amazon Disney water wars.
Okay, so I live in Rochester, New York, which is right next to the Great Lakes and the Finger Lakes. We are basically the seat of one of the largest freshwater sources on the planet. And in 11th grade, I went to Catholic schools. Sister Carlene told us she thought Rochester was going to be the #1 main battleground site for World War III. And when we said, "That's crazy, Sister Carlene, why would you say something like that?" She said, "Because World War III's going to be about water." I think about that fucking class every single day of my life now.
McDonald's hamburgers don't fail at their job of maintaining public safety by killing 1,000 plus people every year.
Weird, every time socialism failed in Africa, you can find a leader who was killed by the CIA. That is weird, isn't it? If socialism fails every time, why does the CIA have to kill socialist leaders? Why can't they just let the country fail? Did socialism fail in Burkina Faso under Thomas Sankara, when there were massive tree planting programs, school building programs, nationwide literacy campaigns, and making huge gains in gender equality? Or what about this? I thought socialism always leads to corruption. Sankara cut the salaries of government officials, including his own, banned flying first class, sold all the government Mercedes. The dude didn't even use air conditioning. So obviously under Sankara, socialism wasn't failing, which means the CIA and the French had to murder him. They collaborated with his second-in-command, killed him, and cut him up into pieces so they could scatter his parts when they were burying him. Socialism fails every time it's tried, and the CIA murders your leader and cuts them into little pieces.
So obviously one of the big stories going around right now is that all of the people who have been calling everyone sheep for the last year and a half for getting vaccinated and wearing masks and taking the pandemic seriously are now eating a deworming cream intended for, among other things, sheep. So my only question is, how is this? How is this what it is? How is it this and not anything else? Because when they thought that, how could it be that, how is it this? Who?
Discussion post due at 11:59. Capitalism is going to ruin my life and eventually kill me. Am I really bi, or have I internalized the male gaze so hard I'm attracted to women? I should smoke. I should phone addiction.
My cousin just said that he thought the Q in LGBTQ stood for quirky. Ross, tell the people. Explain yourself.
He said one day you'll leave this world behind, so live a life you will remember.
Remember when congressmen would literally beat each other up over their differences? What happened to that? I'm not condoning violence, but I would like to see Bernie Sanders swing on Mitch McConnell for being a bitch.
They want to make rich people poorer
and poor people more comfortable.
Yeah.
Free up my guy, he ain't do shit. The system's corrupt, he does not deserve to be in prison.
Trans women are real women.
Then why are they called trans women?
Number 2.
You're right, bro. Black women, white women, gay women, straight women. They're not real women. Want to know why? There's an adjective in front of them. Shut the fuck up.
Is family separation at the border actually a bad thing?
What?